Heroes of Greyhawk is a game played by adults and recorded for an adult audience. Sometimes we use adult language and explore adult topics. Consider yourself warned. Last time on the Outlaws of Greyhawk, the gang struck a deal with the people of Crimsonbrook, rid the town of its nightmare and the foul stench of the mysterious shepherds who descended upon the town, twisting the land and the people's livelihoods to their will. Herds of sheep sickened by some unknown plague, and upon their death rising as ravenous abominations hungry for flesh. The gang and a local deputy named Cooper Mason aimed to root out the evil and liberate the people of Crimsonbrook from this unnatural scourge. Some preparations were made, heartfelt conversations were had, and the party did their best to find a moment of rest among the remaining survivors of Crimsonbrook, now huddled together in the tenuous safety of the Brass Mule Saloon. The party took their rest, some perhaps with conflicted conscious, some with anticipation of what lay ahead, others with satisfaction at the success of their ruse. But Philomena found something waiting for her in the darkest hours of night, someone familiar, a dream of sorts, but tangible and real, a feast upon a banquet table within an opulent hall, the masked faces of those gathered, including their host, a mysterious matron named Nyx. A conversation laced with veiled threats and dark promises. Magnus Crane was important. Melantha was in the way. A gift was offered to deal with the threat of Mel's vengeance, a weapon with a name, Black Harvest, and a destiny of its own. With eyes wide open, Philomena took the blade, and when she woke, she gripped the weapon tightly in her hand. Morning came, and the party set out to vanquish the town's unwelcome guests. They found the ruins, a rotting mob, collapsed timber, shattered stone, the air thick with the buzz of flies. Atop a nearby ridgeline, the shepherds, ever watchful, stoic and observant. Inside the ruins, a heap of carrion trembled, restless with something unseen. Cooper stepped closer, and the mound burst open, two massive insectoid creatures lunging forth, their feast disturbed, their fury boundless. The battle was fast and cruel. The townsfolk were the first to fall, and then the demon toad came, tearing at the party and nearly extinguishing their lives. They fought, desperate, backs to the wall, the odds turning against them, Portis and Cooper at death's door. Mel calculated her chances of survival, and Misty stepped her way to safety, leaving her companions huddled together as the demon toad bore down upon them. And just as the monster readied another brutal attack, a whistle, sharp and shrill, cut through the din. A puff of smoke, thick and acrid, swallowed the beast, and as the haze dissipated, a black death's head moth fluttered away and vanished into the sky. The battle was over. The shepherds were gone. And on the hillside, the once rabid herd of zombie sheep, finally dead, their bodies strewn upon the lay, gathering themselves from the battlefield, along with the surviving townsfolk, Tavish, the tavern keeper, and one of the others, Julian, Lewis falling in the battle. They made their way back to the tavern, having dispelled the immediate threat and emerged victorious, despite their wounds and fractured alliances. My friends, as we find ourselves walking up to the Brass Mule Saloon, you hear the people inside throw open the bar on the door, opening the door to allow you to enter, looking about to make sure the coast is clear. At this point, what would you like to do?
Does Philomena see Mel anywhere?
Mel was outside. She's leaning, arms crossed, leaning up against, the side of the tavern in the shadows. You might be able to see her if you look closely.
I think, as soon as she sees Mel, she just stops in her tracks and is just, glaring.
Portis, just real quick, will turn in front of you and just say, "All right, sis, I'm going to go inside with Cooper. And if you need anything, just holler out."
Yeah.
Cooper,
And do.
Yeah.
I think we have business inside. Maybe we should update with people what's going on.
Yeah. Well, Cooper's going to, he knows there's a back door, but he's going to go inside. He's got Lewis over his shoulder, wrapped up. He's like, I gotta find his friends. And most of them, if any are left, are in here. Let's go. And he kind of looks at Philomena, just kind of gives her like a little side eye as he goes through the threshold. And that's Cooper's gonna go inside with Brother Portis, I guess, or.
Mm-hmm. So the two enter into the Brass Mule Saloon, and as you do, what's left of the remaining townsfolk that are ambulatory come up, and they start to ask you questions and kind of pull you inside, and you are sort of absorbed into the group as you start to do the things that you need to do to inform the people of what happened. Meanwhile, outside, Melantha and Philomena share a moment.
Mel will, cock her head, still in her, leaning position, looks at her, Philomena, and says, "Well, I'm glad to see everybody made it out. Got away."
Are you?
Yeah. I knew y'all would come after me. Y'all wouldn't be far behind me.
From my vantage point, what I saw is that you left us all to die. Is that not the case? Are you telling me that you didn't leave because you were worried about your own safety and survival over ours? Over any of ours?
I seem to remember me telling you that I had a mission, a life mission that I had to see through. What is the point of seeing that mission through if I'm dead? And I refused. I refused to die in a situation like that.
Well, we didn't die. And I had thought that maybe we had broken through. I thought that maybe you cared even just a little bit about us, about me. But you have shown me time and time again that you only care for yourself.
You don't get it, Philomena.
I don't get it. I get it
you
completely. Your brother is dead. My mother is dead.
Exactly. That's my point.
Them. We are doing this for us. They didn't ask us to get revenge.
But that's my point. What is fulfilling your mother's wish? Her goals? If you're dead, what is the point?
This isn't her wish. That's what I'm saying. This is for us. They did not ask us to get revenge for them. They are dead. We are doing this for ourselves. And I at least have the guts to see that.
Well, I'm sorry that I couldn't sit and watch a friend die.
You did! The townsfolk died. Portis nearly died. If it wasn't for me, I poured health potions into his mouth.
You didn't think I didn't do that for Cooper? You didn't think I didn't do that for Cooper when I barely know him. And you know how I am around strangers, about people around y'all that I traveled with.
I'm glad that you did, but then you left. You left me to die. You left Portis to die. You left Cooper to die. That is the reality of this. You can justify yourself as much as you please, but that is how I see this.
Well, I'm sorry, we don't see eye to eye. But I opened up to you, and I told you what is keeping me here. What is keeping me on this earth, this plane. And I told you. I opened up to you in confidence that you would see where I'm coming from. And I didn't want to sit there watch other people that I didn't want Magnus Crane to do something to again. My goal, even though it's not yours, even though my brother didn't ask for it, my goal is to take revenge on my brother's killers, my brother's murderers. And I'm sorry you can't.
Connected. You have a book that is giving you names, but no answers as to why.
That's why I'm going through the book and going through the names to find connections. And they're all leading to one person. I'm sorry. You felt like I abandoned you. I know how that feels. But I am not strong enough to watch people that I have opened up to, you, Philomena, to watch them die knowing I can't do anything because in that battle I felt useless. My attacks weren't hitting, they weren't doing anything. We were falling down one after the other. I couldn't sit there and watch it any longer. And after I turned tail and ran, I realized that I actually need y'all to help me. At least find out why. If Magnus Crane did it, and my gut says he did, he has a huge part in it. Why? My brother. That is my biggest question that I have, and I have to follow what is given to me to answer that question. And he is the only one who can do it. Be mad at me if you want to. Be upset. Call me names, I don't care. That's what I thought that I had to do at that moment. What we went against, we were not prepared for. And you know that as well.
Can I roll insight to see if what she was saying was the truth?
Absolutely.
That would be a 20, not natural.
Mel, what does she pick up on that?
She picks up basically the whole truth. I mean, after Mel did run, she realized she couldn't do this on her own, and she did feel a definite connection when she opened up to Philomena, and Mel believes that Magnus Crane is the person who she has to get her answers from, is the only person she's able to get the answers that she wants from.
And the part when she said that she left because she couldn't see us die, like she couldn't watch us die.
She couldn't watch you die.
I think you watch as Mel is saying all of this and spilling her heart out, the anger on Philomena's face just like slowly settle to just grief. And probably in the midst of one of your sentences, she's just going to walk up and hug you.
She's definitely frozen. Like, she doesn't know how to take a hug because, she hasn't had one in years. The last person to hug her was her brother. So I guess she feels you, like, squeeze her, and she'll, like, slowly, put one arm around your back and then like put the other one and like cradle your head and like run her fingers through your hair and she'll whisper, I'm sorry. I've already had too much taken away from me.
I'm sorry.
I didn't want to see something else. It ripped from my hand. I couldn't do anything about it. I had no control over the situation.
I just needed to hear that you cared.
Out of the whole party, you are the one I do care about the most. Screw the other guys. But after seeing, you know, Cooper get beaten down, and then you cradling Portis, and I panicked. It was either a fight or flight risk, and the fighting wasn't working. We weren't prepared. We got our asses handed to us. I don't know how we all made it back.
The shepherds. They stopped it. I don't know if you saw that from your vantage point. We wouldn't have made it. I don't know why they stopped it.
Well, we can definitely brainstorm on it. Well, what to do next? 'Cause they're up to something. It felt more like a test than anything.
I agree. If I was ready to fight tooth and nail to make sure I was able to keep every single one of you alive, how do I know that you'll do the same for me? For us? How do I know you're not gonna just leave again?
I realized that I need every single one of you. Even Portis. Even the new guy. But you the most. You are keeping me sane. You are keeping me grounded. You're keeping me here from not running off on a suicide mission. Trying to do this by myself. And I thank you for that. Because you have no idea what, you might, but you have no idea what that means to me. So thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad to have found a friend in you. I haven't had one in a long time.
Well, I look at you more like a sister. So, can we finish this stupid mission without going at each other's throats?
Yeah, I think that we should probably get inside. I don't think it really matters anymore if I'm not Harley, right? I mean, I know that Hoban is still keeping up his facade, but I don't know. I think that they've known that something's up. And I don't think that they're gonna say shit, really. I think they're just glad that this is gonna hopefully be over for them.
Well, we did kind of save their town, so I think it would be in their best interest that they don't say anything against us. Because we can just, easily leave a month on their own and they can fend for themselves.
All right.
But I mean, if they do, who cares? Who cares?
I think she'll squeeze your hand.
She'll squeeze it back.
And head towards the tavern and wipe any remnant of tears that are on her face.
Oh yeah, Mel definitely cried.
That was beautiful. The two of you enter into the saloon and
Portis goes
find
away from the door quickly. I was listening and I didn't want to get caught. Turn my attention back.
Portis was eavesdropping. Of course he
Cooper
was.
Mason gets out of Brother Portis's way.
You find the townsfolk inside, sort of huddled around the body of Lewis in a shroud, bundled up as Cooper had done. Some of the folks are wiping away tears as they look up as you enter in, silhouetted against the sunshine of the day behind you in this dark tavern. The people come to you and hug you and thank you. Tavish is sitting up on a stool by the bar, his little gnomish legs sort of kicked out in front of him, and he's got a bottle that he's pulling on extremely heavily as he's downing some spirits. We did it! Well, they did it! We should honor those who have fallen in the battle for Crimson Brook. Lewis, and he pours a little bit of the bottle down on the floor. Eugene and the others who went for help. He pours it down. You hear from the back a gruff voice call out, Thank you for helping us. And you hear the voice of Cole Barrett as he strains. His voice sounds weaker than it did before.
Yes, well, that was all. That was fine. I suppose we should just get out of here. I'd really like to see Gull Keep while I'm in the area anyway, and I don't think we're going to be able to set up our town around here. I mean, our business here anyway. It's not going to work out, and we probably need to get some fresh air anyway, because you two seem like, sis, you and Auntie seem to have had a bit of a moment. I think the whole town heard you.
Just as a note, Philomena looks like Philomena right now. She does not look like Harley.
Yeah.
Let me just see. I'm gonna do a roll to see what the reaction is. Okay. So Tavish kind of looks over at you and sort of eyes you up and down, and then raises an eyebrow and hops off the stool. Oh, shit! Looks like you found another survivor. Well, whew. Welcome to the party. And he hands you the bottle, and then he gives you a wink.
Thank you. I'll take a swig. I'll take a swig.
Myra comes up and says, "Well, what happened to Harley? She didn't make it?" She's talking to Portis Hoban.
I guess it was a rough one out there.
I think she might be around here somewhere.
Did she run off? I got a bad hit on the head, and I was out a couple of times there, and this lovely stranger helped me back. I don't know where Harley went. Auntie Melantha, where'd Harley go?
Didn't I see you all riding in on horses? Maybe she went to go look for him.
Oh, yeah. That foolhardy kid. It's hard enough keeping an eye on both of you when you're together. When she runs off by herself, I just get beside myself.
You know how adventurous she is. She didn't go far. She's fine.
Well, when she does turn up, maybe we can have a little bit of food prepped. Gail Willick. Now, look, Cooper. Is the coast clear out there? Or are we free to move about the town, or are we in danger still? What's going on?
I wouldn't worry about them shepherds anymore. I think they're going. They would have killed us out there. They seem to.
They're
They seem
gone.
to test our limits, and I don't think you'll be seeing them anymore. I think you should send some of the kids out to gather up some of the stray animals and get some of the older men to start fixing some of the fences. Keep these animals in, and I don't think our guests are going to be staying very long. I think this was a stop that they didn't need to do, but they did, and they did it honorably.
I don't know if anyone should stay here, really. I don't know how interested you all are in rebuilding this town, but it's bad.
There ain't nothing for us here no more.
Head back to the port.
Yeah, y'all should go to Crockport. There's a lot of stuff going on over there. I think we're going to go check out Gull Keep.
Gull Keep! You keep bringing that place up. There ain't nothing there but stones and rubble.
Yeah, I just need the air. I just need the air. I sure do need to find Harley. I'm a bit worried. And this place is getting a bit closed in on me.
Well, take Gale and Willick with you, will you? Gale, Willick, head on over to the general store and see if you can't find if there's any fresh fruits or something left over, some salted meats. There's got to be something. We gotta get a meal together. People are hungry here. We ain't traveling nowhere without getting us some food in our bellies. And I'm already half drunk because I'm so hungry, and drinking this booze has got me all riled up. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, Tavish. Hoban, is it? You see this kind of portly fella with the big white beard, human, bald on top. He comes over and says, "Well, me and Gale will accompany you if you do us the favor, keep an eye on us, just in case something's lurking."
Well, all right. It's Hoban, but if I do see my sister out yonder, I'm going to go over and give her a hand. But I'll get you as far as this store.
Yeah,
that'd be where it is.
Mighty nice. Yeah, it's just down the road a spell.
I'll probably just take off. This has been grand. I'm glad I could help a little bit. I wish you all luck.
Thanks for
I'm
your
just
help.
gonna back out the door and find a corner to then turn into Harley.
Well, that was unexpected.
Travelers around here at the right time, it seems. Lucky for you.
So, Hoban, you accompany Gale and Willick out into the street, and they kind of hustle across the dusty road and into the general store, and you can hear sort of like things kind of crashing around as they're probably pretty nervous and trying to do the best they can to gather some things together. But while this is happening, what are the rest of you doing? Mel?
I am going to go find the nearest corner in the shadows and sit back and just people watch, just radar around. Look out for things and make sure that, no one decides to go and get nosy while Philomena is changing back into Harley. And also keeping an eye on Cooper.
An eye on Cooper. Cooper's gonna go back to like where his room is, where he kind of rests his head, and literally he knows, after this is over, after we've accomplished this, he's packing his bag, and he's getting out of the bloody clothes he's wearing underneath, and he's changing into a new under. He's cleaning up. He's got a wash basin and all that. He's basically getting all ready, cleaned up, and packing his traveling stuff. He's throwing on, the armor's going back on once he's cleaned it. It's gonna take him a little while, but When he does come back out, if he sees Melantha, he'll walk over to her and kind of, I'm not sure what she would be doing at that point, you know, but he's going to be looking for her when he gets out of his room.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just leaning against, I'm just in a corner, either sitting, just keeping my eye out on things inside the tavern.
Well, yeah, he's going to, he'll kind of saunter over. If she's sitting or whatnot, or leaning up, he's just, he's tall. He's a big bloke, and kind of look at her, ma'am.
What?
I just wanted to thank you for me being able to stand here and say thank you.
Don't mention it.
Goes into his pocket, pulls out a nice shiny red apple. Says, I don't have much to give right now, but kind of hands her the apple.
I'll take it.
And he kind of looks at her and says, look, I don't know what happened, and I can just say that you have your reasons for what happened, and I know I've been there. I had my reasons for doing something similar years and years ago, and when do we leave? I owe you my life, and wherever you're going, I'll be there.
So she'll take the apple. She'll kind of like, move it around in her hands, kind of rub off, like, I guess some dirt from it being in his pocket, some pocket lint or whatever. She'll like rub it off.
Pocket apples.
She doesn't eat it though. She puts it away for later because she doesn't like eating in front of people. She'll look at him and you don't owe me anything. We apparently needed you in that fight. That fight kicked our ass.
Yeah.
I only did what I thought at the moment was the right thing to do.
Well, I'm glad I was there, because I was going to go out there whether you guys were here or not. And I probably wouldn't come back, had you not somehow wandered through our podunk little town. But I hear you're heading to Gull Keep, and I just don't want to be here. There's no reason to stay here. So you have my sword. So does your companions.
Well, it's not really just my decision alone whether you join the group, but if you do, what happened in that last fight happens a lot, so...
It's a weird place. And if you're heading to Gull Keep, just kids have been told bedtime stories about that place to scare them to stay in bed, and a place called Gull Keep where no gulls ever go. I'm curious myself. I really would like to see what's there. So maybe we're just traveling together. We're going in the same direction.
Well, we all have an agenda there.
Besides, I'm not staying in this town.
Well, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
The place is a shithole.
I know. I wanted to leave months ago. I just had no reason.
Well, like I said, it's not really my decision alone. I don't know if you got, everybody's take on you joining. I personally don't care if you tag along or you don't.
That's all right. I'm going to go see if we can scrounge up more food with some of the townsfolk. Maybe check some of the houses that have been abandoned. But don't leave town without at least saying goodbye. If you don't want me along, at least we'll say goodbye.
Well, if we, wake up in the morning and you're there, then you're there.
Yeah. And he kind of straightens up. He's got the nice big black leather duster on over his armor, and he with a kind of a charismatic flourish with his hands suddenly grabbing it, he kind of turns and twirls and kind of walks away and heads towards the door and looks at, I think Tavis is still there, right?
Yep, Tavish is there. As you make your way towards the door, Cooper, you feel a hand on your arm, gentle tug on your arm, and you look, and it's Myra, and she just says, "Cooper, thank you for helping them folk put down whatever scourge that was. I can't imagine how dangerous it was for you."
It was
Cole, Sheriff Barrett, I don't think he's gonna last, and he's asking for you. And then she turns and sees Harley kind of coming through the door, and she's like, "Oh!" And she kind of runs over towards Harley.
I would like a quick moment before I enter the door.
Sure.
Do we want to run the Cooper and Sheriff?
No, go ahead. No.
When Philomena slinked out the door and went around the side, made sure there were no windows and stuff, she would just lean against the wall in exhaustion and take the scythe from its resting place, looking at the changed appearance of it, and take the little toad figurine from her bag. Sister. Fuck. And just tuck the figurine back, put the scythe back, run a hand through her hair, and as she does, the flame takes over her body, like Cooper being lit on fire. She changes into Harley. Takes a deep breath, and then enters.
As you do, you're met with a hug from Myra Fleming, as she greets you as you're coming. I thought they lost you in the battle. It's so good that you made it. And she just hugs you and squeezes you tight.
Oh, she'll squeeze back. No, I'm very much alive. I'm sorry to scare you. I didn't mean to. I just saw something and I thought it might have been one of our horses, and then it wasn't, and so I'm back here now though. Are you okay?
Yeah. She releases her hold on you, and she kind of tidies her dress a little bit, and she says, I've got to convince everyone that we can't stay here no more, that we got to leave. This place is it's not right no more. It's foul, and with all the stock dead, or worse, there just ain't nothing here to keep us around anymore. I don't know if Crockport's gonna be much better. None of us, a lot of these folks, she kind of looks back, ain't never seen anything beyond the town line, but we can't stay here. I'm determined. I'm gonna do whatever I can, and I would be honored if you and your friends would accompany us back to Crockport.
I think that my brother's pretty set on seeing Gull Keep. I don't know what his fascination with it is, but he's been very excited about it. But I will say, our journey, we came from Crockport to here, relatively smooth.
I understand.
And the only thing I'll say is that I wrapped Eugene's body in a blanket on the side. We took him a little bit away from the shore so he didn't get swept up, but you'll find him there.
No, he ain't there no more. That's just a body now. He's out there on the waters, in the air, in the sky. But I appreciate what you did, and I understand. I hope you find whatever it is that you and your friends and family are looking for up there at Gull Keep.
I hope we will.
I think Tavish is fixing on making some kind of a meal for you before you leave. I don't know what your travel plans is, but if you stick around for a bit, you might at least get yourself a full belly before you head out.
I'll talk to Aunt Mel and Hogan, but I think we can swing that. Thank you. All your hospitality.
We're lucky to be alive. You're a big part of that. And she kind of walks back and joins the girls who were Lark and Ivy were sort of back just watching the conversation take place, and she goes back and kind of crouches down and hugs them, and they're sort of like crying a little bit, and she like wipes the tears from their eyes, and they just kind of go back to take care of helping with whatever preparations are being made. Let's quickly go to Hoban. Hoban, as you're sort of out on the streets, you've seen Gale and Willick go in to gather some supplies. Is there anything that you want to do while you're out there?
Yes, my damn spell is about to fade, and I'm going to have to re-up it. So I'm going around the backside of the building, and I'm going to redisguise myself to make sure that it doesn't drop and embarrass me further and complicate the stories I'm trying to keep up.
Give me a stealth check.
Inside.
Give me a stealth check, Portis.
Oh, well, that's a 13 on the die. Let me see my
Not too bad.
stealthiness. Oh, 15 total, unless you want me to do it at disadvantage for armor reasons.
No. It wasn't so much that you were sneaking about, but just sort of trying to hide this transformation that you're doing. So I think a straight roll is fine. As you do your transformation and initiate your disguise, you instinctively kind of feel some eyes on you, and you just kind of turn and you see Willick standing on this wooden porch out in front of Hannigan's Dry Goods, the general store across the road. As you sort of come back around, and he's just kind of standing there looking, but he doesn't seem to make any sort of gesture or anything like that. Maybe he doesn't even see you but in the back of your mind, you just feel this sort of creeping sensation that there's something about your presence and your subterfuge that's off slightly. But nevertheless, you come back around and you see Gale and Willick, and they're like, "Oh, we found some supplies. We could make a bit of a stew or something." Gale, ain't that right? "Yeah, I can make a stew. It's not going to be a problem. We'll get some food going because people are real hungry. So, that's all we need. So we're going to head back. Thanks for keeping an eye." And they kind of are avoiding looking at the hillside. And you look up at the hillside, Hoban, and you can see that it's just sort of like this bloody white mass of dead sheep and goats on the hillside. There might even be some scavengers, some vultures and the like that are already circling above and coming down to tear at the flesh. They hurry back into the saloon.
All right, I'll follow up in my own leisure.
Okay. Let's jump over to Cooper. Cole Barrett, the sheriff, had been calling for you.
Yeah, Cooper's gonna immediately, if the door was open, it's now closed, and he immediately like if anyone's looking at him and knows him, he's running without looking like he's running. You know, he's literally like fast walking, speed walking right over there. You know, like every second is precious. And he'll go over to Cole.
That you, Coop?
Yeah, it's me.
He kind of reaches out his hand, like he can't see you. He like kind of like reaches up weakly with his arm.
I reach right out. If he's laying down, he's like on a cot type
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah, he's on like
Yeah,
a pallet on the floor.
I mean, I'm a huge guy. I get right down to my knees, kneeling right down there, put my arm right out and give him, big grasp,
They said Lewis died. Anybody else injured?
Yeah, well,
You okay?
Yeah, they're all right. They're gonna be fine. Don't worry about them. I'm just worried about you. These people looked up to you and they were hoping you were gonna lead them out of this place, but
I don't think I'm leaving Crimson Brook, Coop. I think the writing's on the wall for me. And you kind of pull back because he showed you his wound before you went out, and you kind of instinctively just sort of like peel back a little bit of the bandages. It looks like someone has sort of fixed some, and they're wet and kind of sticky. And he's like, oh, he kind of winces a little bit. But you look down, and you can see that this radiating necrosis goes down his chest and disappears, and it looks darker and as if it's taking over more of his body. He's definitely got some sort of a very advanced disease of some kind. He says, I want you to take that sword. I want you to keep it. I want you to keep that. So that was my daddy's sword, Coop. He fought with the elves, and they gave him that sword. Now it's yours, because I'm gonna regret saying this. God damn it, you're a fucking hero. Fuck.
Cole, I'm no hero, but let's just say I helped save the day. There's a lot more days to come, and I'll take this sword and I'll use it with honor, but not because it was your daddy's, but because it was yours. I always admired you. You're the only person in this whole town I ever looked up to. I may have been a real ass to you. I may have really hated working for you, but I didn't hate being near you. You're a good man.
I appreciate that, Coop. Look, I think you got to make sure that these people leave. There's too much death here. The soil's stained with the blood of too many.
Yep. I'm kind of getting the sense that these new friends of ours don't leave. The Calliston Rangers are probably going to show up and probably going to give them a bad time. I don't think these people are up to no good. They do good things, but I think deep down they've got something dark. And I think I've got to take them out of here.
You got to trust your instinct, Coop. That's what I always liked about you. Good instinct. But look, be careful. Be careful with them.
Yeah.
Don't forget, they stood by you as heroes. And sometimes, no matter what someone's done, they can always do good things to make a change.
That's been my goal in my life for the past 15, 20 years. You know that. That's why I came here. After so many years, I came back, tried to make this town a little something better than it was, but the only thing good here was you, and of course Travis and his booze. Speaking of which, and I go in my bag and I pull out my bottle of, maybe half left now of bottled lightning. And I pull out my shot glasses and I pour him a shot. I hold up. If he can't hold it, I hold it up to his lips. And
yeah, he's just kind of shaking as you hold it up to his lips and kind of pour it. A little bit runs down, but he gets most of it in his mouth. Suppose one last drink won't hurt nothing. Poop. Kind of his eyes open up and you can see the black necrosis is kind of like taking over his eyes as well. The whites of his eyes are blackened, and he just kind of looks up at you and he says, I got me a plot out in the cemetery. Paid good money for it too. Goddamn.
Yep. I know where it is.
Make sure my body finds its place, will you?
I'll take care of it personally, my friend.
Thank you. Do good. Do it for the right reasons. Do better than I did. Coop. And that's the last thing he says as he slips away.
I lay him down, close his eyes for him I look in them and they're probably just black. And I close them, cross his arms, take the blanket that was at his legs, I pull it up over. I think he had a badge or an insignia.
Yeah, he has a Calliston Ranger badge on for sure.
Yeah, I take the badge and I walk out of the room and I look at Mira and I look at Tavish.
Their eyes just kind of go down to the floor. They kind of know, they just kind of look down.
I just look at them and take the badge and I take my badge off and I put it in its place. And I go behind the bar and look for like a big tablecloth. And I'm gonna head back over to the room. Cooper's all about getting things done, not standing around.
When you walk back, when you walk back to the body, you can see two other older fellas, Yurga and Quint, and they're standing there and they're just kind of looking down at the sheriff, and they look over to you and say, "We'll help you. We'll help you with what needs to be done."
Yeah, I got some shovels. We'll get the cat. We're not going to carry him. There's no dignity in being carried. And I get one of those old, like a wheelbarrow kind of backwards.
Mm-hmm. The litter kind of thing.
Yeah,
literally,
it's all about business. Keep everyone's mind busy. Even as I'm going through to do all this, I'm kind of looking at people that are kind of standing around in the tavern, and I'm like, kind of giving them the old like, "Hey, the coast is clear. Start scavenging stuff. You don't want to be here for the next couple of days. Start finding anything. Doesn't matter whose house it is. They're not going to be living there anymore. Take what you can. Pack well."
And at this point, Myra is like sort of like standing. She's standing with talking to the group, like trying to convince them that they have to leave, and she's doing the best to sort of like convince everyone that this place is done and bust, and they need to move on. And it seems like most people are sort of nodding their heads. And as you sort of help her with that argument, telling people that they need to gather supplies and go, and more people are like, yeah. So they start to scatter and go off to different places, their homes and the Hannigan's dry goods. And so they start gathering supplies. You also know that there is a sheriff's station in town, and there are like weapons, shields, and I mean, nothing crazy spectacular, but there are, like if anybody in your group would need an additional side, like a sword or crossbows or anything like that, they would have some things in there that would probably be worth scavenging if you need them, some shields and things like that nature, all of them mundane, but potentially useful. And there's also like enough of supplies that remain in the Hannigan's dry goods where you'd be able to, anything that's in the player's handbook for supplies, you'd be able to scavenge if you needed it. You and Yurga and Quint take Cole out to the Crimson Brook Cemetery, and you easily find his headstone and start to dig the hole for him.
Yeah, I'm just with the small talk between myself and the two other guys. I'm just kind of reminiscing about how many times I've had to scare away the drunks, or the people that got arrested by Cole from coming out there and urinating on his grave. Because everyone knew where his plot was. I was always making sure that nobody ever, literally pissed off Cole. So I knew exactly where it was. But yeah,
it's the kind of thing where it's like Cole Barrett, it had like his birth date, but it didn't have his death date yet, right? Yeah. So
plus I also after I tell the guys I'm working with, I said when we're done, I give them instructions. I said, look, I think I heard our new friends. One of them mentioned something about that they're missing some horses. I'll let you guys go look around.
What you mean, them horses right there? And you look over and you can see that there are 2 horses and a mule that are just sort of grazing on the wildflowers that are inside the gated Crimson Brook Cemetery.
I look at the boys and I said, I got this for a second. And I actually have animal handling as one of my skills.
Ooh, all right, let's see how this goes. They're a little skittish as you start to approach. All their heads kind of go up at the same time, and they sort of like they start kicking a little bit. Give me an animal handling check.
All right, animal handling.
Roll well. They're skittish, Jeff.
Remember, you have pockets full of apples.
I do.
Oh my God! You do not have an endless bag of apples. That does not exist.
It's not a bag of holding; it's an endless bag of apples.
No.
Pocket of holding.
I did really well. Actually, I rolled a 19 on the die, and I get plus 2, so that's a 21.
Yeah, you're the horse and ass whisperer apparently as you creep forward, and they have like maybe they still have like their bridles and everything. So you just you grab the leads, and they seem to trust you enough. And you make your way back. We're gonna move forward a little bit at this point. We're gonna say
I literally wanted to do that to get the horses.
Yeah, absolutely. So you make your way back, and some time passes, and there's some food being prepared. Gale and Willick are making some food. Tavish is noticeably intoxicated and has basically opened up the bar, telling you like we're not going to carry all this booze with us, so let's drink it up. And so people are celebrating their life and sort of like mourning the loss of those who died. At some point in the afternoon, while this is happening, Tavish is going to approach the 3 of you, and probably Cooper's there at this point too, as you guys are kind of sitting there drinking and having some food. And he just says, "What is this fascination that you all have with this Gull Keep? I'm just kind of curious. I mean, them stones have been there longer than the keep itself. I mean, longer probably than the lake, for goddamn sake."
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I don't really think. It's getting later than I expected. I don't think we're actually going to go to Gull Keep at this point. It was just sort of a point of interest that I heard about, but the more I hear about it and all the things going on around here,
it's a scary place. I mean,
it sounds like a waste of time. I agree.
It's an old ruins of an old lighthouse. I mean, and let me tell you something from what I heard growing up around here. That lighthouse was meant to be a warning, not a guide. You know what I mean? And I think it was built. I think it was built to hold back the darkness. Maybe to cover something up, but. There's all kinds of stories about that place being haunted and such. Yeah. I mean, you gotta go messing with that? You just barely survived this thing. You saved it. You guys are heroes. I mean, you should ride that wave, baby. You can be famous.
No, I don't disagree with y'all. I have to ladies, if you're not heart set on seeing Gull Keep, maybe we'll just continue on eastward. What's the next town?
Yeah, if you stick around long enough, son, you probably get some sort of a commendation by the Callinston Rangers when they finally show up. I mean, a little late, you know what I mean? But when they do show up, you're heroes. You might get some sort of reward or something.
I always have looked up to those fellas and ladies. That is a respectable organization. I've never actually met anyone outside of this, our friend Cooper here that even had a badge. Maybe we will stick around, see if they come through, but maybe we'll push on and see if there's a little bit more fruit to be harvested in another one of these small towns on the way. Do you recommend checking out any place beyond here? I don't think we want to go back to Crockport, being there, spend our time there, and enough is enough.
Well, the farther east you go, the more likely you ought to run into bandits and hoodlums and such. I mean, these are dangerous times, but I mean, I guess you could make way for Grabford. It's a bit of a journey out that way, but it's on the Vang River, and boy, you could find your way to all sorts of points after that. I suppose you find yourself a boat, and you could sail all the way down to the Nerderv, and shit, you can make your way down to the free city of Greyhawk. I hear that's a hell of a place.
Well, that sounds like a bit of a large sort of
That's an
population that don't know.
adventure.
Yeah, I don't know that we're city folk really, but Grabford might be a destination to look toward. I don't know. We might help see y'all off out of here and then stick around here a little bit. And fewer of us in the town. You know, these buildings aren't going to get up and walk off by themselves. If we needed to
Let's
stay
hope
here another
not.
night, no, I agree with you. Yeah, I've seen some things around here in this town the last 24 hours, but I don't know. We may just stick around here. And ladies, I don't know what you're thinking. You know, I'm not in any hurry at this point to head off east, south, or certainly not back to Crockport right now. Just get these folks out of here and maybe reconfigure our plan. You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, you've always been the brains, Haben. I've always been the brawn, so I'll let you have your say in this. Whatever it is,
I do appreciate
whatever the children want, I guess.
Thanks, Auntie.
Thanks, Nancy.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see y'all off and we'll figure out our way. Probably over to Grabford. I think that's a good recommendation.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be setting out hopefully tomorrow. There's not much to gather no more, so I think Myra made a pretty strong argument for folks to saddle up what we got left and head out. So I guess Crockport it is.
Well, wish you luck.
Really.
I wish you luck too.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I think I'll talk to my kin and figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah, let me get out of your hair then, but, you know, help yourself to the liquor. We ain't going to carry any of this back with it. Well, maybe a little bit of it. Okay, I'm going to go have some more. I'm drunker than a skunk. Yay!
Hi. I'm so glad he lived out of any of us.
Sis, Auntie, there is a store over there. You want to head over there with me just real quick, see if there's anything else we might want to pick up before we head over to Grabford?
Yeah, that's fine. We can plan our travels from here in private.
I'm just gonna kind of like look over to Cooper, who's like hanging around. You know, like, you know how you're having a group conversation and there's one person that's like a little too closely, but like they're not in the conversation. You don't know if they're trying to join it or if they're trying to leave. It's weird. Can we help you? Thank you for everything that you did. I know that we wouldn't have been able to do that ourselves.
Yeah, well, like I told your auntie. Anyways, you know, I was going to be doing that myself with probably Tavis and the other boys, and none of us would have gotten out of there. But as luck would have it, I'm heading your way, whichever way you're going, because I don't have any place here anymore. Once everyone leaves, I'm sheriff of a empty town. And I've been to Crockport. Once you go to Crockport once and get in trouble, you don't go to Crockport again. And I really
looking for some sort of other adventure. You figure we're the adventuring type?
Well, you know, I look at you, y'all got a purpose. And
what is that purpose, Cooper? What do you mean we got a purpose? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that.
Well, I know no one just goes to Gull Keep just to look at Gull Keep.
Well, I ain't going to Gull Keep. Going to Grabford.
Man. You know what's in Grabford?
I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
I guess you want to go along to Grabford too?
Yeah, if you walk outside the door and pretend this place is, you know, not destroyed, that's pretty much what that place is too.
Well, and not destroyed Grabford sounds all right.
Yeah. Well, either way, I got no reason to stay here once everyone leaves, so if you don't mind, I could travel with you. I got a good sword and I got my shield, and as you know, I'm willing to die for the right reason.
It's an interesting way to put it.
Harley will lean into Haben, into his ear, and whisper, I think he knows, and I think that we need him.
And I'll whisper back to you, Depends on what he knows.
I mean, he saw me.
How about we go to the store and we pick up things and we can talk on the way without.
I think that's great. I think that's a good idea. I like that idea. I mean, that's what I suggested in the first place. So if we don't want to tally around here anymore, let these people get their meal and whatnot, we can just go on over there and take a look.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I'm gonna lead everybody over to the store.
But not Cooper, right? You guys
Cooper's
are having your own.
No, Cooper's coming.
Cooper is coming.
Okay.
All right.
Cooper's coming.
Cooper literally, as like he realizes that they want him to kind of tag along with them, like grabs his travel bag, puts it over his shoulder, grabs his shield, and he looks like that puppy dog that's got his tail wagging like a mile a minute. He's literally like, this is great, you know.
When we get into the store, it's probably been about another hour, I think, since I cast the spell, because we've had lunch, we've had conversation, and I'm going to turn around when everybody else is in there, and I'm going to be like, I can't keep this spell up any longer. I'm putting too many resources into keeping this ruse up. Now, you listen to me, Cooper. I know that you have your suspicions. You don't know who any of us are truly, and if you want to go along with us for whatever reasons, you need to understand that there are things about us you don't know and you don't need to know. If you know what I mean. Do you know?
Cooper, now did you like drop your facade?
Yeah, I can't hold it up anymore. I'm wasting my resources.
Cooper just looks at him and says, my good sir, I'd like to thank you for being more transparent. And you know, you're right. Your business is your business. And my business is my business. And right now my business is, I think, I've been night watch for too many years. I'd like to have a little fun. I don't care what you do, as long as you let me swing my new beauty once in a while.
All right.
Don't worry.
Yeah. That's a whole entirely
That's
different
just-
conversation.
Need you to understand the potential danger that you're putting yourself in. I know that you already put yourself in harm's way once. That was for a very good cause to get a lot of these folks out of here. You already seem to be a little morally gray, so I don't think you'll necessarily have an issue with what happens. But
don't worry, my dear. I'm not worried too much about danger. I mean, if you'd seen the size of some of the guys I shot in the ass with my crossbow, yeah, that's dangerous. We laugh it off the next day and everything, but when you're walking around with your head over your shoulder, looking around all the time, you can kind of get used to getting hit from behind.
I just
I
want to
could
be
use a
clear
little
that
excitement.
if we speak to anyone else before we leave, we are heading to Grabford. We have given up Gull Keep because it is a tourist trap that we don't need to explore any longer. We are going to Grabford. Or, better yet, we leave from here.
Don't worry. These people are smart enough to mind their own business after a while. Even if the Calliston Rangers come asking, they've known me for a long time.
I don't want to hear about the Calliston Rangers any longer. Is that badge real, by the way?
Yeah. It was Cole's, so it's definitely real. But I was never a member. I just became a deputy under Cole, so by proxy. Yeah.
Fine.
But it will help us get through some sketchy areas if it's necessary. It does hold a little bit of weight. So if you're looking for a little deception, and like I said, don't worry, the townsfolk know. They know when to properly lie when it's needed. So
I don't know that they know they need to lie, but I think
they know when someone's asking funny questions and they know when to avoid them.
Philomena, I think we should leave him here now. to Gull Keep.
I think I've said what I've needed to say to these people. So.
And we have lost time. We have a reason for going to Gull Keep, and we may be too late.
We have wasted a bunch of time here.
A very good point.
No.
I will say, I don't think we should regret that. I think that we all did a very good thing for these people. And I think that we did it out of, I hope, some sort of kindness in our heart. It at least made me feel a bit better.
I'm going to lick my lips with my forked tongue.
Cooper sees that and just goes, "Oh, this is going to be fun." We better get out of here, you know. It's getting late.
And Mel will look at Cooper and she says, "No, I did remind you. Not just my decision on whether you come with us or not. I'm not the only person in this group. And like I said, if you're there the next morning, you're there. If you're not, moving on. I personally don't care whether you come or not. But if the other two think that you could be an asset to our group, then who am I really to judge?"
If I'm honest, and don't count on it, I'd prefer you go along now, so I can keep an eye on you.
I would also like to mention, very good with the sword, very heavy hitter, very useful, but also, if at any point, and I want to stress that if at any point you don't want to do this anymore, please don't. You can leave. You'll probably never see us again, and honestly, that's probably for the best. If you do see us, it might be the end. I don't know.
Philomena, I feel like you're projecting.
Probably a little bit, but just, you've got choices if you choose to live at any point. I can't blame you.
My lady, don't worry about me. This is going to be fun. I could use a little bit of walking and a little bit of riding. I did find your horses.
You have a horse.
What?
I look at because you all have horses, right? There were 3 horses and the donkey, right?
Yeah, you
horses
recovered
and
the
one donkey.
2 horses and the donkey. Anvil, Dodie, and Phalar.
Anvil's mine.
Yeah. Are there any horses in town? Would Cooper know?
I would say for the sake of moving things along, yeah, you'd be able to find, your horse.
A couple stabled.
Yeah.
And I would have had a horse as a sheriff deputy.
I don't want any more goats.
I'm like, let's go. And so if we, I'll if I know that these guys are definitely okay, we're going to be heading out, then I would probably go grab my mount, which, I show up, clip, clop, got my shield on, got my sword on. I'm like, ready for an adventure? Let's go.
Oh, great. Another weirdo has joined our group. But he seems a lot better than the last one.
I'm like, I like her.
No comment. Shall we?
So the 4 of you mount up and ride north out of Crimson Brook. Definitely not headed to Gull Keep, but totally headed to Gull Keep. And we are due for a break. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, you guys will be on the road, having left the townsfolk behind without saying goodbye, and just sort of disappeared onto the range. Thank you all for hanging out with us and all of the wonderful comments. Coco and Rachel, absolutely fantastic role play at the beginning with that very, very tense and also very touching moment between your characters. Thank you so much for that. I'm just so thrilled when this kind of stuff happens. This is such a great table. All right, so we will be back in just a couple of short minutes. Please stick around, and we'll see you in just a few. Thanks so much. Okay, so we let's dive back into this thing now. The four of you have ridden out from Crimson Brook after the events on the glen with the battle against the toad demon that had been plaguing the town, the shepherds that had been watching over the town for some unknown reason. That reason still shrouded, I would say, in mystery. And you have begun your journey north. And the music is really creepy. Hold on a second. Let's do this. All right. So you have. It was a little premature. I got a little excited. But yes, you have begun your journey north to Gull Keep, and you've left probably at this point after the all of the aftermath of the battle. Your recovery, to whatever extent you were able to recover, you would have definitely been able to take a short rest. So use that as you will with any hit dice that you'd want to expend to heal your wounds. Please go ahead and do that behind the scenes. But you ride north, and night begins to fall on the road. You don't know necessarily how far it is. You may have an inkling that it's about a day's ride, but you've left sort of midday at least, if not closer to afternoon. And so you ride out, a few miles north, eventually having to probably take a rest at some point, or sort of risk losing the trail. The farther you get away from Crimson Brook, and even the road into Crimson Brook was pretty narrow, was not necessarily well worn. It being sort of out in the boondocks, as it were. Well, Gull Keep is even farther into the boondocks than Crimson Brook. So you definitely are finding that that you're out in the middle of nowhere. You could hear the ocean, or I should say Lake Wyastill, off in the distance. It's a big body of water, so it is ocean-like in its presence. As it is crashing, you can feel the winds of the coastline in your face as you're riding out. Each of you on your trusty steeds. And eventually you find that it's getting dark enough where it's probably time to find a place to take your rest and let the horses maybe feed on grasses and whatnot. How do you make camp? How do you set up camp? Is there anything in particular that you would do to secure your camp or to prepare for your rest?
I'd hope to find somewhere that's a little covered, so that they can hopefully make their presence less known, if possible. So I don't know if away from like the main road, if there's forest or some sort of
It's
rocks
it's like scrub trees. Like there are trees, a lot of them are have lost their leaves. They are stunted in their growth patterns. It's more kind of grassland and rocky terrain, but there are scattered about clumps of trees, some living, some not living, some dead, sort of scraggly, and it's kind of scrub brush kind of habitat that you're riding through. But you can ride off the road and down, getting sort of below. You can look for, let's do this. Let's do a round of survival checks.
I'm a survivor. Survival
Oh
check.
no. 3.
Be a group check. Okay, a 3.
Got an 8.
An 8. Okay.
22.
Yeah,
Okay,
I knew
22.
wisdom would save us.
I know how to survive.
I got a 1.
Oh no.
No.
Okay.
Cooper's never
Why
been
did we
this
bring
side of
him again?
town.
Wait,
I don't think Cooper's ever been this side of town before.
Portis, describe the location a bit for me of where you're gonna guide your companions to camp for the night.
One of the larger trees, even though it's dead, it's bigger than a lot of the ones in the area, and it shields I wouldn't call it a meadow, but a clearing in the lower scrub that makes like a natural foot at the base of this tree. And the tree backs against the trail, so we could even keep a low fire and not be seen until it's dark by camping low in that scrub behind that large tree. And it's large enough for us to lay out our mats and things like that, our sleeping bags and whatnot. And then there's a little low hill that drops down just on the other side into a little bit of a gulch. We can take the animals down there and tie them off. They'll be close enough that if they get excited, we'll hear them, but they won't be visible from the trail.
Very good precautionary measures. You find exactly that, and you set up your camp. If you had wanted to, you would have been able to take like new bedroll, new blankets from the Hannigan's. Is that what it was called? Hannigan's? I think it was. Yeah, Hannigan's dry goods and supplies. They would have had, if you wanted a tent, you could have grabbed a tent, that kind of thing. So you would have had access to some of those additional supplies. But nevertheless, you do set up camp, and you set a small fire, and darkness descends upon you, and you look up in the sky, and you can see the occasional star, but you can also see that there seems to be sort of a front moving in. There's some clouds high above you, and they're starting to more obscure as the night goes on, obscure more and more of the celestial happenings. The moons are shining in various states of waxing or waning. So there's a little bit of illumination, and at some point in the night, let's do this. Tyria, give me a D4 roll, please.
Oh no. Okay.
We'll assume that each of you sort of like takes a watch in the classic Dungeons and Dragons sort of sense. And what did you roll?
I rolled a 2.
Okay, so Portis, as you are taking your turn, maybe tending a low fire perhaps, or at least keeping an eye on things from wherever where would you be as you're sort of taking your watch, the others seemingly asleep?
I'm up against that tree.
Okay.
Sort of keeping an eye on the trail, but facing the full arc of the camp.
Okay, give me a D6 roll, please.
6.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. 4. There's a funky looking die.
Even better. Okay. So while you are leaning up against a tree or sitting with your back against a tree, however you would be at this moment, you hear in the not too far distance, you hear what it sounds like the excited barking of dogs, or maybe the laughter of hyenas. And then it goes silent.
Right. I'm listening for any indication that they're coming closer to where we're at.
Give me a perception check, please.
15.
Okay. You hear another round of distant barking, perhaps a pack of coyotes in the distance, at some sort of rally point nearby. Just seems like best you can tell that they're not getting any closer.
Okay. I'm going to monitor that. I'm going to monitor that with it. I have it in mind, not only closer to the camp, but if it's actually coyotes, then movement towards the animals. Coyotes, I doubt would be.
Give me a nature check. We're getting all the checks in now.
I'm just evaluating my environment.
Yep. And it's not loud enough to wake any of the rest of you, having been exhausted from the battle and everything that went on. And, you guys are day drinking a little bit maybe. So you know how that is. You get kind of tired and you sleep real well. It's a real nice way to nap. What'd you get there?
I got a natural 5.
A natural?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I know about as much about nature as I do about being really honest and nice.
You get the sense that maybe there's some sort of pack of coyotes. That's the best you can tell.
Varmints.
Hey, thank you, Doc. Appreciate you very much. You've got 2 advantages to dole out to whoever you'd like those to go to. Appreciate you being here. You listen. Do you leave your post? Do you seek out the? Okay.
Nope, I'm not going to wander out there. I'm just going to pay attention to the perimeter of our camp and our safety.
Okay. All right. And as you do, the rest of the watch goes relatively uneventful. Occasionally you hear the laughing call of the coyotes or the hyenas or whatever they might be. But you don't get the sense that they're coming near you or that they're anywhere close to your location. You let the fire burn down a little bit lower, perhaps. But nothing else seems to molest you or your companions throughout the rest of the night. And the next morning, the 3 of you rise to meet Portis as the sun is rising over the grasslands here on the south shore of Wyestill Lake, and it is an overcast day. Clouds look heavy.
Cheery.
At least it didn't rain on us last night.
That is true.
Yeah, it's never good to sleep in the rain, don't it?
Cooper.
Yes.
Do you know how far this Gull Keep is from where we're at this moment?
Would I know that?
Give me a history check, Coop.
History is not.
It sounded to me like you probably haven't been up here, so it'll be a little bit of a higher DC for you. Or maybe you've heard some things. Maybe you recall some stories of people passing through town.
Oh. 17 minus 1 is a 16.
Okay. Yeah. So Tavish, for some reason, has always been interested in Gull Keep. And you recall many a drunken story sitting at the, humoring Tavish at the tavern as he's pouring free booze into 2 shot glasses, going 1 for 1 against each other as you're drinking and listening to some of his conversations. But the Gull Keep now, of course, is more poignant to your situation. And you get this, you do have the recollection, 2 things. You recall that there is an old druidic site that is near Gull Keep that he had mentioned before. You got the sense that Tavish had been to Gull Keep. He talked about the ruins of the old lighthouse and how he would tell stories of ghost ships that had vanished near the cliffs of Gull Keep. But he always sort of insinuated, or maybe straight up mentioned, that he didn't think it was the waves that took him. He talked about how blood had been shed on the lands around the keep, that there had been a battle of some sort, or something had gone down, and that the land was always sort of calling out for more tribute, more blood. The farther he got into his cups, the darker he would get about these stories. That's what you can remember. It's about a day's journey from, more or less a day's journey from Crimson Brook.
Yes, I'm just kind of like relating all that to Brother Portis, and just kind of like, he, crazy old gnome that he was, probably been there and back many times, and
he did go on about it being haunted.
He always talked about that part. Yeah, it's one commonality. His stories may have gotten more wild every night and everything, but the one commonality was, he said you never want to go there, and you don't want to see the spirits, that kind of stuff.
Maybe it's a surprise to you, but we're not going to the keep to see spirits. In fact, I don't think we have any intention of going inside.
No?
We're actually trying to head off boat transportations. I think that's something you should know. Should there be a battle ensuing and you don't know why you're fighting?
I'm sure you've got your reasons, and it's good to know. I appreciate the, like I said, transparency.
Speaking of us doing that, we don't really know the layout of this place, so I'm sure there isn't a way we can truly theorize or strategize what we're planning on doing. But we're not making ourselves known until we have to, right?
It's a good point, indeed. And I think that, well, we should definitely see what's there when we arrive, and we should not be present on the shore immediately.
All right.
Yeah, well,
Also, you said there was a druidic circle?
some sort of druidic site. Yeah,
That does not fill me with a lot of confidence with shepherds that we've seen recently.
You got a point there. Yeah. Where
You
you
think
got
those
sheep?
shepherds were druids?
I mean, when I think of shepherds, I think of animals and nature and land. And when I think of druids, I also think of animals and nature and land. So it feels rather synonymous to me.
And druids are pretty strange folk, anyways.
Philomena, I feel like you've found a blind spot for me.
Either way,
animals
and nature in general. I barely know. I know how to hide. I can recognize a structure, whether it's a dresser or a tree, but I don't know anything to speak of nature.
Well, I have a basic, maybe a little above average, if you will, a +1 to my intellect, which means I got a +1 to my nature. Got basic understanding of it.
You were a B student when it came to nature.
Yes, that's just something we should definitely keep an eye and ear out for, and maybe a weapon out for. I don't know. It's all of that was very confusing. Did you just make sure that we're all on the same page here? We did not win that fight. The fight was conceded on the other side, and that they let us win.
Frankly, I don't remember.
Yeah, you were.
Big toad disappeared into a moth after a whistle came from the shepherds on the hill.
I would say that you were intoxicated if I didn't know that such things could happen. You know what I mean? And my tongue flicks out.
Cooper just doesn't want to talk about the fight himself, so he's just going to kind of head over to the horses and get them ready, starting with his horse, and he's going to go to the rest of them and get them all ready to ride, and kind of talking aloud to himself, saying, we got a day's hard ride.
Well, Mel will chime in on that and say, I already told this to Philomena, but it felt like they were testing us to see what we could bring to the table. I don't know about y'all,
Well,
but I'm pretty pissed.
Cooper's just going to kind of shout back from where he is with the horse. He's going to kind of say, well, you know what? If they are testing us, I don't want to find out if I got a passing grade or not.
Who are they? Is what I'd like to know.
I mean, as far as we know, the shepherds, but we don't know how far that goes. If the shepherds have any correlation to Magnus Crane, or I'll look at Cooper to see if that name rings any bell.
Cooper's just blank stare. He's more worried about the current question about these shepherds, and he's just kind of thinking back to his few weeks in military training. He's like, you've met the enemy, you beat him, you learn, you could beat him better the next time. So let's just worry about that if we come across it.
If it was a test, however, one of them was willing to sacrifice itself. Is part of this information gathering? I don't understand exactly.
Maybe he got overconfident.
Did we
got in too deep and got himself killed?
Kill it?
Oh, I charred his skull and broke his head into carbonated pieces of burnt rubble.
I suppose this is a question for Dave. Was the body still there after he died?
No, it turned into dust.
Yeah.
Yep. I thought I remembered that.
I
don't know much about magic to a deep degree. We should just be wary. We should be cautious. I'm gonna get on Dodie. We should probably ride and talk.
Good idea.
As not to waste any time. But
Agreed. We've already wasted enough.
Closer. We can head out more off the road, try to take a less direct path. See what we can see from not out in the open.
Which of us is going to lead that way?
Well, you led us here. I don't see why you couldn't lead us not here.
You flatter me, Philomena. I do appreciate you, but I don't know where I'm going. I'm looking to Cooper. You say you haven't been here, but you're from this area more than we.
Well, Cooper probably would know at least. You know, like I said, the druidic site and everything. He's kind of guessing. He's like, well, I'll just say we stay on the road, and I'm sure we'll find it.
I mean, the one thing you do know, Coop, is that there's really nothing else out here except for the ruins of Gull Keep. I mean, there's no other towns this way.
And he's like, all roads lead somewhere, and there's nothing out here. So the only thing that's out here is Gull Keep. So
I think if it comes down to it and we're getting off the track, we can all work together as a team, because that's what we are.
Yeah. Cooper just kind of looks at everybody. I'm assuming, like, at this point, everyone's all packed up. He's just
I would like to offer, should we find ourselves uncertain, I can consult the wind and perhaps get us back on track if it's necessary. So we'll just keep that in our breast pocket.
So you do have a little bit of, like, druidy, nature-y kind of...
I would call it, I will call it misty. A misty sort of effect.
Misty. All right. Yeah.
Yes.
I can roll with that.
I mean, to be honest, I don't get none of this magic shit. So.
You and me both.
Yeah. Cooper's just like, the only thing I trust is my baby here, and he mounts his horse, and he's just like, all right, Ariel, let's show these other people.
Ariel.
Love it. All right, so you mount up and ride out, leaving behind the campsite, the spectacular campsite that Portis was able to find for you, and you continue north on your journey. And as you do, the skies, even though the day is dawning and you're reaching sort of the midday, the skies are dark. The cloud cover, it has all but obscured any sort of blue up above, and you feel almost like a cold chill as the wind blows off. You can sense that you're getting closer to your destination, closer to the rugged coastline, and closer perhaps to danger. But nevertheless, you continue on, and as this cold wind blows from the north and these dark clouds fill the sky, you see a flash of lightning flickering off in the distance, far out over the lake, still a ways away, but you can see that there's some sort of a tempest that's brewing out over the lake. And you've heard rumors of this. When you guys were in Crockport, aside from Coop here, you had heard that there were storm clouds hanging over the northern reaches of the lake, that there were evil forces to the north that were preparing. You know that there is this looming threat of war on the horizon, and now you can see it. You can see that darkness to the north. You crest this rocky path. The wind comes howling across the grasslands. The grass is swaying violently as these winds gust towards you, and it carries the scent of brine and decay, sort of that ocean-like smell that you get. For some of you, that might be a welcome, a very familiar scent. For others, it might be startling. And up ahead, on this barren stretch of ground, you see, I should say, that there are 4 stones that stand in silent formation.
a strange assortment of stone.
Yeah, maybe this is that. This could be that druidic place that Travis always talked about. Some sort of holy site, maybe.
Sort of perception check around. Do I get a feeling that we're being watched? Is there any?
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
How big are
The
these
visibility on like at the ground level is still good, but you can definitely see that the clouds and things are moving in above you and darkening. But yeah, you can still see pretty well. What was your roll?
16.
16. Anyone else care to make a perception check or want to do anything else at this moment?
How big and tall are these stones?
Give me a perception check.
Oh, yay.
I'm scanning the water for watercraft.
Okay, so you can just kind of see in the distance the water. You're not like right on the edge or anything. It's sort of like this sloping landscape. You're still, best you can tell, you're still a few miles from getting to the actual coastline.
I will make a regular perception check then because everybody else is freaking me out.
I rolled a 14.
Okay, 14, 16.
23.
23. Wow.
Don't get me worked up.
Yeah.
Perception. I got a 13.
Okay.
Just a straight 13.
So
I'm sizing it up.
So Cooper, Mel, and Philomena, you see that there are four fairly weather-worn monoliths that stand in this rough circle. Best you can tell, Mel, they're probably 12 to 16 feet in height. They're various heights. They're not uniform in their height, but they are. All of you, including Coop, would see that they appear to be positioned intentionally on the landscape. You're still a little ways away, but with that high roll, Portis, you see that at the circle's center there is a figure that appears to be crouched.
There's someone there. Do you see it? They are crouched low to the ground. I can't quite tell who or what it may
You can
be.
kind of see it, maybe.
Does it appear to be humanoid or animal?
Is that another rock?
It's definitely a living creature.
Okay.
All right, I pull out my crossbow and get that readied because it probably wouldn't have been loaded. You don't carry a loaded crossbow on a horse for very long.
Cast mage armor on myself.
Definitely pulling out my short sword.
Can I make out any other details of this creature or individual?
As best you can tell, there's only a single individual that is, and there's some movement. You can see the maybe like the clothing of this individual or the cloak perhaps sort of like billowing in the wind. Again, remember the wind is sort of like howling through this grassy landscape.
The figure is clothed. It may be one of your druids you're speaking of. I don't know much about the folk.
Now that Brother Portis has narrowed our focus as we're looking, and we kind of noticed this, how far away is this person, this individual? How far away is
We'll say less than a quarter mile, probably. You're kind of like up on the ridge line that you came, and you can see down towards this, and it's like right adjacent to the path, basically.
So, Portis, you can't see them doing anything else. They're just kneeling there.
They are sitting or crouching. Their fabrics are flowing in the wind. They are not making any sudden gestures or movements. I'm judging them to be humanoid by the fact that they're wearing clothing. That's all I can really tell. I doubt we have escaped unnoticed at this point.
Well, we gotta head that way anyways, right?
Close. Could we maybe put our horses here, try to get a little closer?
Yeah, we're a little far away. It's kind of a walk. You don't want to lose your horses again.
And they are close to the road.
We'll just we'll move slowly so we're not galloping away.
Perhaps it is a wise figure. Man or woman of knowledge.
Maybe it's a shepherd. Maybe it's someone that wants to kill us. Maybe it's someone that'll give Magnus Crane notice that some people are coming.
Yeah.
Thinking worst case scenario here.
If it's a druid, they're not bad. I mean, they're
David,
weird.
we're pretty exposed up here as far as it being able to see us.
Yeah, you would expect that if it had looked in your direction, it would see you silhouetted against the ridge line in the sky behind you.
Let's get out of this view.
It's too late. I'm no ranger, but I don't think that we would have escaped observation from this vantage point. If it noticed us and we decide to try to hide now, we simply cast suspicion upon ourselves. If we proceed with some authority, I think our forthright approach may be the best defense.
Well, as we get closer, we'll see if we can. As we get closer, because if we're up on a ridge, we're probably going to be descending towards this a bit, right? We're up a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't somebody disguise themselves, go down, and ask for directions?
Well, like I said earlier, there's not a whole lot out here. And sometimes it's wise not to bother anybody.
I should think we go as a group.
Yeah, I agree with the gentleman.
I'm no gentleman, sir.
Oh.
Fair.
If I was by myself here, and I saw 4 strangers who I had no idea who they are or why they're here, approach me out of nowhere, I think I would be a little defensive.
My dear Melantha, you are suspicious of everyone. So it would be a natural occurrence to you.
Can you blame me?
I do side with Mel on this. I would also be rather skittish.
But if we approach slowly and forthrightly, with no speed nor aggression, we are on the common road.
I say we move as a group, but someone needs to be ahead of us and the other 3 stay back so they know that we're not here to cause problems.
Cooper just starts to straighten his coat up again with the badge kind of showing and says, well, I am a man of authority and I could go a little bit farther ahead, and if someone's got a problem with me, then they ain't good people.
All right.
I'm fine with that.
Great point.
I'll take up the rear. Anvil is slow anyway.
Looks like a fawn donkey, though.
It's fine. Responds to strange words of encouragement. Food or something of such.
Dodie and Philomena kind of pass Portis. She's gonna stop Dodie and reach her hand out, almost like a handshake kind of motion to Portis.
I'll take your hand.
I'll squeeze it. I trust you. Okay.
My dear, if there's anyone in this group that can trust me, it is you.
Squeeze it again. And I'll keep going.
Cooper's just gonna, before he slowly walks at a nice canter, not any kind of, it's nonchalant kind of pace. As a soldier, you don't waste energy. But he's kind of revert back to the rest of the group and just kind of say, the best way to survive any conflict is to have no conflict. If we can get by this person without even talking to him, that's my preferred method. And he's just going to go down. And he's going to let them decide how far behind they want to be behind Cooper. Cooper's not looking back.
Sure.
He's
Okay, so you guys, Cooper leads the way with the rest of you following behind, Portis taking up the rear. And as you get closer, you can see more clearly now that there is what appears to be an elderly man, or at least a frail-looking humanoid individual, wearing, the closer you get, you can tell, wearing a tattered, weather-beaten robes. The monoliths, these pillars of rock, appear to be rough-surfaced, pitted, cracked. They seem to have some old sort of carvings on the face of them that are difficult to make out. You're maybe about 120 feet from the circles, and this individual has not made any movement or any sort of gesture towards you of greeting or anything like that. And as you continue your very slow approach, you can see now that his hair wild and unkempt. It's sort of like blowing in the wind. He seems to be sitting cross-legged in maybe a silent meditation. His eyes close, his head sort of looking down at the ground. But it's what's more noticeable as you get closer, Coop, you're the first to see it, is that, and it's sort of like a heaviness sort of washes over you. And you can see that these four pillars that have these very strange carvings on them, each of them also bears a figure of some sort that seems to be chained to the pillars. The figures themselves, as well as the man, unmoving, aside from the wind blowing articles of clothing, tattered, worn, weathered, and the hair of this man kind of blowing around a little bit. They seem lifeless and somehow affixed by chains to these pillars.
They're actual like bodies, or are they made of stone?
It looks like it. As you're approaching, you get within about 60 feet, and you can see that there's individuals standing chained to these pillars. And as you get within 30 feet, you look and you can see that they appear to be unmoving. They appear to be bound in chains. Give me a perception check.
The probably about the last 25 or 30 feet before I get to 30 feet is going to be a very slow, cautionary kind of walk with the horse. And I'm not taking my eyes off kind of the guy, and I'm seeing that whole scenery. What am I making a roll of?
Perception.
Perception? I don't think I'm very good at perception. +0. And I rolled an 11.
Okay. Yeah, they just appear to be lifeless figures. It's almost as if they could easily blend into the carvings on the pillars behind them, but you can see that they are affixed by chains.
The path where that I've been following to get down to here, does it go like directly by this or through this setup, or is there a way
Yes,
it
it
goes
does.
right through it?
Mm-hmm.
And what's
well, not right
left?
through. It doesn't go through the circle of stones, but it goes like adjacent to it. I
mean, if there's like on the other side of the path, the opposite of where this goes, I'm actually kind of stop where I am actually, but I am looking at like how much space do I have? It's open. Is it open area, or is it
you pull on the reins of your horse and stop, Ariel, and the rest of you kind of stop. You're about 30 feet from the stone circle at this point. Yeah. Everybody else, give me a perception check, please, at this point.
It was nearly an 18. That's a 1. Not natural.
That's a 9.
Okay.
We're not very perceptive.
19. Portis, by God, is not going to fall to any deception today.
Love it.
Yes,
and I just wanted to quickly remind folks, thank you, Doc Shoulder, for cheering some bits to get some advantages. Jeff and Coco have an advantage from a little bit earlier in the adventure. Right. So thank you. If you want to get involved and help our party out, you can cheer bits and grant advantage. Okay, so Portis, this is actually perfect. Portis, you pull up next to Cooper on Anvil, and you look and you see these bound bodies that seem to be chained to these pillars. Their lifeless figures bear the signs of some sort of a dark ritual. You're about 30 feet away, and you can see black ichor that seeps from their lifeless eyes, and in each of their eyes is pierced by a large iron spike. And they're just bleeding this black ichor from their eyes. The man in the center just kind of like sort of notices your presence finally as you all sort of like stop riding and look upon him. And he's sort of like, his head just kind of like looks up. And for a minute, Portis, you think you recognize this individual. Just a brief moment of recognition.
I can't place it.
No.
I start to speak, and then I turn my attention to Cooper and say, if this does appear to be druid magic, and whatever they have going on here, it has no doubt some religious significance. I can't
Well, whatever it is, it's very disturbing.
I don't know that we wish to ask directions of these hapless individuals if we're just a mere group of 4.
I don't know if I would want to bother this man. I not getting good thoughts about this, you know.
I think I want to do an insight and see. I can tell already that it's the dark ritual, but I'm wondering, or maybe it's a religion check, if there's any way I can infer the intent.
All right. Yeah, it would be a religion check. While this is happening, Philomena and Mel, what's going through your minds right now? What are you doing?
Can we kind of tell what, what kind of race of the people who are chained to the pillars? Is it like all the same, or are they different?
They all present as human.
Okay.
It's very difficult to tell. Now that you're closer and without having to re-roll your perception check, you can see that they are corpse-like in appearance, as if they've been dead for some time, maybe.
Okay.
I got a 7. I don't have any idea what they're doing.
You don't know what the intent of whatever this dark ritual is. You do, as we identified earlier, kind of realize or like identify it as some sort of a ritual of dark magic, and you, without a doubt, can see that there are upon the stones themselves, aside from the chained corpses, there are these very ornate yet weathered carvings in the stone along each of the pillars.
Anything familiar?
The only thing that's familiar to you is as you look back at this old man, this elderly individual that seems to be now head raised, you can see the familiarity, and it hits you. For just a brief moment, this face kind of flickers, and you can see the face of Brother Andreas.
I think we should press on. It may be best for us to just simply press on.
It flickers back to this elderly face, and then it flickers into another face, Portis, of someone else that you've dispatched. Who is it?
Likely it was that Calliston Ranger whose head I shrank to smithereens.
Mm-hmm. And then it flickers back to this individual's face, and then the eyes on this individual open as if they have now felt your recognition. And you can see that as their eyelids open, it's just black cavities where the eyes once were. And you can see as they look up, they call out to you. The end is nigh, forked tongue. The task nearly complete. The blood of your treachery is all that remains. And then he just gestures with his arm towards this tarnished brass basin.
Did we hear that?
Yes, you all heard it.
Cooper's not even taking his eyes off this old man. He's just going, hey, I think we should really get the hell out of here. That's just, I'm glad I'm wearing the brown pants of my uniform.
He gestures toward was it a brazier?
It's like a tarnished brass basin that lays now as he gestures towards it, and it's like set in front of him.
Is it upright?
Mm-hmm. As if you could fill it with something.
I feel compelled to gaze into the brazier, or into the pot, to the cauldron. I'm sorry. This individual seems to know me.
If you can do that, and that's fine and dandy and all, but if things start going bad, do you need us to pull you out?
I do appreciate it, Philomena. And I will accept your aid if you don't wish to save yourselves, should things go that direction. But I feel I must.
Okay.
I will
be careful.
Dismount from Anvil and hand the reins to Cooper. And I will approach the cauldron.
He's gonna get himself killed.
You
don't
step
know my
forward, Portis. And for a minute, the face that looks at you, it's just drooling with excitement, trembling with adrenaline, perhaps, as it recognizes you. And for a minute, the face flashes and you see the face of the old hag-like figure that had crawled upon you in the caverns beneath Lake Erston, that had kissed you, that had bestowed upon you a gift. And then it flashes back to this old man's face with these dark, void-like eyes. You've returned.
Is this Cyril?
Do you ask that out loud?
Are you? Forgive me if I don't recognize you, but are you my goddess?
The blood of your treachery is all that remains. Castian.
Do you approve of my behavior? Do you relish my successes?
Tell me all of it.
You know my story. You made me, and I do relish my successes, and I do relish my life in service to you. And the fork you have put in my tongue, it serves you as well as it serves me. Why do you greet
mistake
me
me for one who cares about your pitiful existence? Shed your blood as you did once before, and you shall see the truth in your lies.
Why should I?
You have the free will. It is your decision to make. And he just bows his head.
I don't think I have a blade.
Oh, you look
there a
down
blade?
near the tarnished brass basin, and there is a dark obsidian blade that has leather wrapped around the hilt. It is crude. It is sharp.
I glance back at my companions. The truth in my lies. The truth. Truth. I pick up the blade. Truth is a foreign word to me. And I'll slice my palm over the cauldron and squeeze the blood inside.
While this is happening, what are the rest of you doing?
I think that since the moment that we... Oh, wait. If you're talking, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I was muted. No, Cooper really has not taken his eyes off of the strange man. And every so often he's glancing over at Brother Portis, and that if he sees him doing this, he's just gonna literally like he's dropped the reins on the donkey, and he's got his crossbow up and like aimed at this old man. That's what he's doing.
I think that from the moment that we arrived, there has been a pit in her stomach that heavily rivals the feeling that she felt whenever she saw the burning bodies in the cart. The bandits, the hired hands that we had slain and burned, the coin that she tossed in, the feeling she felt when the cabin was raided by the Calistran Rangers. She feels sick to her stomach, and worry and fear and a lot of curiosity of if this is how his patron appears to him. She's very glad that that's not how hers has. I think you're muted, Coco.
Oh no. I'm a little bit taken aback because I have been wary of Portis ever since I saw him turn that guy's face to dust. But knowing that his patron is that thing, Mel is not very, doesn't feel, she's now starting not to feel very safe around Portis.
Could we hear the whole conversation?
You've heard everything.
Oh.
She's definitely very wary of Portis. She is unmounted Phalar. She is standing right by him with her sword still out, just preparing in case anything bad goes down.
I think seeing Mel dismount, she'll also dismount.
Okay. Portis, you take the obsidian blade and slice your hand, the blood pooling in your palm. It starts to drip out of your fist down your arm a little bit. What do you do?
I hold it over the cauldron and I say, without looking at anyone, there is no lie. There is not lie in every truth, but there is truth in every lie. It is the one consistency that I follow. And I drip it into the cauldron. Show
The first
me.
drop of blood hangs like paused in the air as it falls from your fist. You could hear this low weeping. All of you hear this chorus of weeping as the corpses that are chained to these pillars begin to wail and sob and cry, and the black ichor rolls down, drenching what little is left of their tattered robes as this drop of blood, this stream of blood begins to extend and drip into the bowl. And the minute that the blood hits the bowl, Portis, you remember all of it. You remember every detail of the lies, the contrived plans, the plot, your purpose, which was hidden to even you until this moment. When you think about what this man said, that you'd returned, you know what this means. The wailing continues as your blood drips into the basin and starting to fill it up a little bit. The rest of you are watching as this is happening. It seems very sort of chaotic in nature as they are like hysterical now, like sort of like convulsing as they are chained to these pillars. And they're sort of, not that they're fighting, but they're like crying with so much sorrow that it's causing their bodies to almost seizure.
Has Portis's expression changed at all?
Portis, has your expression changed at all? Can they see your face at this point, or can they only see your back?
I'm profile, I think, to the road. So I think they can see my profile. And I am just watching my blood ease into the cauldron, and I'm listening, and I'm watching.
And as you turn back and take a glance at the old man in the center of the circle, he smiles, his voidless eyes. He is not gone, only watching, waiting to return when the time was right. The stones whispered his name before he was born. He was always meant to find this place. What was learned should have been forgotten. Welcome. The wailing continues, and then he just dematerializes. His cloak just falls to the ground, and out from it, a swarm of these rotten rats just scurry away into the grasses. And the crying stops, and the heads of these wailing corpses just kind of fall limp.
Well, screw me. If that wasn't the freakiest thing I'd ever seen.
How big is that basin?
I would say it's probably 10 inches in diameter.
Is it on a pedestal or is it on the ground?
It's just on the ground.
I kick it away with my foot.
Philomena's running up to Bortus. She's taking his hand and pressing fabric into it, whatever she has, and just like trying to see anything on his expression.
Mel will walk up, be like right behind her, and just look at Portis at his back, and just ask, "What the fuck did you do?
Are you okay?"
I look down at Philomena tending my wound, and then I look over at Melantha, and I don't have a strong expression. What did I do? What do you mean? Now? Or over the course of my entire life? Or at some point in my life, what have I done? I can simply assure you that what I've done has always been in service to my goddess.
I know that
So-
we talked a little bit. You're happy with this?
Happy? Philomena, sweet child, I've never been happy. I've never been happy. I simply must learn. I must learn the message. Return. The name before I was born. None of this has ever been in my control. I am merely a device. And it is not for the positive glimmer of light of life in this world.
You heard what she said. It's your choice. You didn't have to cut your hand to see all of it, to hear all of it.
Oh, but I learned. I remembered. Can you remember every aspect of your life? If you think about it hard, can you remember?
No,
No.
of course not.
No, I can. I have seen it now. Today. Just now. And I'm no less disturbed by my choices than I was the first time I made them. There is reason. There is reason.
Do you want to share that reason with us?
Well, it goes beyond this life and the purposes that we have as mortals for the things that we do in service to ourselves. My choices have never been in service to myself, aside from keeping myself safe and alive so that I may continue. I'm sure that sounds crass. I'm sure that sounds evil. But it is
I don't
reason
think you're
enough.
evil, Portis.
I should hope you would never see that in me. I think if there is one point of hope and light that I have, it's that for as long as we're in the presence of each other, you would not see that in me.
I do. There's a reason why you're in my book.
Melantha, I have no question that there is. I trust your book as well as I trust anything I know. I don't necessarily know why I'm in your book, but I have no reason to guess.
You
I've done
just
something.
told us you know everything now. So tell me why.
I did not kill your brother. But I have operated in many circles that overlap. And I'm afraid that your brother was caught up in one of those circles, something that I had no foresight on. So yes, I remember. And if that's the reason for me being in your little book, it is a circumstance, not something that I chose, but I accept. I accept your judgment, and I accept the outcome.
I just want you to tell me your circles. Did they run close enough for you to figure out who did it?
My circles include the governess, the plots and machinations of the guild. Yes, I suspect, perhaps even Magnus Crane, though not directly, again, by association.
Thank you. After that, she takes out her book and she crosses off Brother Portis's name.
And I bow.
You have helped me getting closer to the truth. She waves the book. You're no longer on my list. I trust that you have given me everything you know. So that's why your name is no longer unmarked. You're no longer a person of interest.
Melantha.
And she'll kind of just nod her head.
Cooper's gonna, he's still on aerial. He never dismounted. He's been kind of doing figure eight. He's kind of like half ignoring what's being said, but he's picking up a word here or there. And he kind of comes around them towards Brother Portis, leading Anvil, and kind of drops off the reins to Brother Anvil, kind of like saying, well, you know, speaking of book, in my book, we're on a schedule. If we don't, get moving.
I'm going to interrupt for a minute. Portis, as you were being forthright to the best of your ability with Mel, as you are explaining the decision you made to cross his name off, you watch as Portis's leg snaps as if it has been broken by a force beyond belief, and he falls to one knee. And as he utters the next word, his other leg breaks and he falls to his knees in terrible pain.
Philomena screams.
Cooper would have backed up on the horse, like he would have pulled her back out of the way, like scared, like no idea, like, freaked out.
Mel will definitely scream, like, what the hell? What the hell is going on?
I'm just writhing on the ground.
I'd probably jump off my horse and go over to Portis. Like,
I think Philomena's face starts flickering to Portis's and to herself, and back to Portis, and the creature that we saw, the woman that we saw, back to Portis.
I'm just like looking at Portis, like, what is? I'm just kind of like looking at him, looking at,
I start calling out, it's the punishment. The truth. I have told the truth. Oh, the truth is hideous.
I'm just I kind of literally kind of back away a little bit. Not far, but just kind of, I'm literally, Cooper's mind right now is like literally like, wow, what is going on here? I've known you for about 72 hours.
You look down at your legs, Portis, and the others look down at Portis as he's laying there writhing in agony, with the revelation of his infraction. And as that happens, his legs are somehow repaired, but not in a way that make them as functional as they used to be. They appear as though they've been set inappropriately as some sort of a punishment for what you've done, which will affect your speed, your movement rate going forward.
So after, I guess we're seeing his legs being incorrectly repaired.
Yeah, they're like being healed, but like by a very terrible doctor who doesn't know what they're doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
She looks at Portis and she goes, "You said punishment. Is this what you had to give up to learn everything?"
I'm sobbing and I'm repositioning myself, if I've got the use of my legs again, and to pull together items from my robe to make an offering in penance. And I'm just sobbing. And I'm just occasionally saying, I told the truth. The truth that is in the lie. I have broken my vow.
I think Philomena will kneel next to Portis and try to wipe some of his tears.
It's not your fault. It's mine.
You shouldn't have to go through this.
It is what it is. I told you the lie, that I did not do things for self-preservation, and because I tried to preserve in the threat to my life, I told the truth. Why would I do such a thing, Philomena?
Because I think
Because I'm
you
human.
want to help.
I'm just human, but I'm a servant. And I'll start a moaning sort of mantra of prayer.
I'm a servant too, to a degree, but I've never had to.
I'm allowing myself to be just focused right now on my prayer.
I'm just going to give him his space. I mean, like I said, I've only known them for so long, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to do what I know to do, which is keep an eye on the mounts if everyone's getting off their horses, and really being vigilant to make sure, because this is the opportune time for something to come and,
The horses are understandably skittish right now, but you're able to sort of keep them, calm them down as best you can. Another crack of lightning over the horizon, and you hear sort of the first drops of rain hitting the parched earth, and then the rain starts to pick up a little bit as the rain starts to come down. And you can see it starts to wash some of the black ichor from the ground around these chained corpses, as Portis is enacting a ritual of penance.
When I complete my ritual...
I was just going to say, I think Philomena gets up, goes to the side of the road and throws up.
And after my ritual, I'll get to my feet as best I can. get my feet under me, look to the sky and the rain coming down, and then I'll work my way awkwardly to my steed on unsteady footing.
I'd probably at that point, if I see Nate's done and he's trying to move, I would probably go over and help him get over. And if he's ready to get up on his mount, I'd give him a hand to get up.
Portis, take 8 points of damage from the from your punishment. You mount back up. The four of you, Philomena, you as well, or what are you doing?
I don't know how we can just move on from this.
My legs are healed.
Clearly. Yes. But they were just snapped in half. The dead bodies were wailing. You remember everything, but you can't tell us a single thing, because if you tell the truth, or something maybe even close to it, you'll get punished.
I am ready to ride on. We cannot wait here. There's no reason. There's nothing left to learn, nor to be done in this space. And we still have to try to catch that craft if we wish to offer any sort of closure to Melantha, possibly to yourself.
I'm scared for you, Portis.
Mel will walk over to Philomena and kind of like, grab her by the shoulders and, tell her like, we can ask questions later. Right now, we do have something more important to do.
Will there be a later?
We'll make sure there's a later.
I will look at Philomena and say, Philomena, I'm all right. It is a message. I should have known better.
I think she just cries because she knows you can't tell the truth. And she'll get on her horse.
To make her possibly feel better, she'll get out the apple that Cooper gave her earlier, kind of like dust it off, and hand it to her. And, say, here, eat. I know you just emptied your stomach, but you need to have some energy.
Thank you.
And then she'll go and mount Phalar.
Okay.
Yeah, Cooper's just gonna, again, kind of take the lead a little bit, but not as far. It's just gonna be kind of just a few paces ahead to leave them. He knows that there's something going on. Half of him wants to know, the other half really doesn't. But as he gets up and he's moving ahead and gets past Brother Portis, he will acknowledge and just kind of say, yeah, sometimes telling the truth doesn't get you anywhere, but maybe just tell a few fibs instead. Hey, if you need anything, let me know. I'm right there. And he's just going to move past him, kind of give him a little, a meaningful, like, I feel your pain kind of look. And just kind of move ahead and make sure everyone's kind of somewhat in step behind him. He's just kind of heading the direction he thinks they need to go, which is towards the water, a few miles ahead.
All right. So you continue on, having faced some very dark moment with a lot that introduced a lot of uncertainty into the party dynamic. You crest a stretch of rocky trail. You can hear the crash of the waves on the rugged coastline. The wind again buffeting your faces, stronger now. The mist coming off of the lake, combined with the pitter patter of rain that has now begun to fall a little bit more with a little bit more gusto. You can, as you squint through all of this, Cooper, you can make out the silhouette of a ruined structure. Gull Keep, a long abandoned lighthouse that juts out on a narrow promontory.
Yeah, as soon as I like start seeing it kind of coming into what I can see of it, I'm just gonna stop Ariel and kind of lean down to her and kind of whisper and say, "Okay, baby, this is foreign territory for us here. You remember all the stories that we were told when we were, and I kind of waiting for the rest of them to catch up to maybe 20, 30 feet behind me. Just talking to my horse, more to reassure myself because, I'm not a very smart guy and half of him believed the stories that were told to him.
The lake stretches out in the horizon, and you can make out a sort of slate gray, almost like a reflection of the clouds above. Violent though, and the waves crashing. A bolt of lightning illuminates the landscape over the shoreline, and you can see a solitary ship at sea with its sails low against the horizon.
Is it coming in?
Give me a perception check, or if you have vehicles like water vehicles, boat piloting type skill or proficiency, you could roll that. I don't know if any of you have that.
No, I'll try it.
Are we all
I got a 4.
Sure, if you want to. I'm sure Cooper would point these things out, to you. So yeah, go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll perception if you'd like to.
6.
Okay.
The wind has like dried her tears at this point, but like it's like the crusty and she's like trying to clear it and it's bad.
Oh.
25?
25?
And
Yeah.
21.
Okay, 25 and 21.
What's better than my 4?
So Portis and Melantha, you can distinctly make out that the ship seems to be sailing into a strong tempest that is boiling and roiling offshore. It is gliding away from Gull Keep, through the mist, through the waves, and into a dense fog bank.
Portis, do you see what I see?
Yes. Although I don't know why they would choose to go into the storm now, if they're just leaving shore.
Do you think it's a ruse, or could they possibly have a plan?
Given the day I'm having, it may be supernatural in its entirety.
My thoughts exactly. Wow.
But they may yet have left something on shore. We should at least find out about that.
Good plan. I agree with that. We relay that to Philomena and Cooper.
My opinion would be kind of, well, you're not chasing the ship itself anyways, right? You're probably chasing something that would have been on the ship, and what's any reason to come here is either pick up something or leave something off, right?
Frankly, we don't know.
Hmm.
We have some idea what was on the ship, but we don't know why it's being moved or what this has to do with it.
Well, one thing. If the ship's not here, it's less people you have to deal with.
That is true.
Either way, you want to keep going?
That's the best plan we got right now.
Lighthouse? It's an abandoned lighthouse, so it's not turned on right now, right?
It's removed.
Like there isn't a light coming from it?
Good question.
I mean, well, from the stories I was told, it's, more like a warning. Not
And
like
a welcome.
It wasn't here to guide, it was here to keep away.
Yeah.
So
I just start making.
So you
sure
press
all
forward.
my-
That's what I'm
as
hearing.
riding,
Okay.
I'm just double checking all my crap, making
Yep.
sure everything's all clean.
So as you push ahead, The rain begins to fall a little bit heavier. The runes begin to grow in size as you get closer. You can see that it looks as though the once maybe grand lighthouse tower has since toppled, where it looks like maybe it's a one-story at best structure. It's unclear. There's a stone wall around the perimeter that is broken and crumbled. The runes lay just ahead, maybe 120 feet from your position. As you are slowly approaching, that's when you hear the first sound that catches your ear, a high-pitched yip, followed by a growl. A hyena-like cackle, the clamor of a response coming from multiple locations around the keep. I'd like everybody to roll a perception check, please.
Oh my god. 4.
You got to get new dice, girl.
I'm just
Put those dice in jail, baby.
16.
Okay.
I theoretically could add a d4 to it, but I don't think that would change anything enough.
I have an advantage. Can I use that to reroll?
Yeah. Typically, no. I would say save it. I don't think because normally you need to say that you're going to use it beforehand, anyways. So let's not do that. Cooper, what did you get?
I got a 12.
Okay, and you, Portis, you got a 16.
Yes.
Yeah. So Portis,
I'm not dying today.
Yeah. So Portis, you are the only one that can make it out. There are figures that are sort of maybe taking up positions behind some of the broken walls. You can see the flap of tents in the sort of like dilapidated courtyard in front of this lighthouse, and you can see that there are these individuals. Based on your roll, you can see that they appear to be canine-like, but bipedal. And you are astute enough to know that these are likely gnolls.
I pull back the reins and say, companions, go no further. I see a camp. I admit I thought these may have been coyotes last night, but it appears we are riding into the teeth of death.
And that, my friends, is where we are going to end tonight's session. And we also have our last session's title, because that was awesome.
Oh my
We're going to end it there and come back next week to find out what happens to the conclusion of this story.
Kidding me? Oh my!
I told you it was going to get more confusing, didn't I? I said it's going to get more confusing.
There's nobody like nobody.
We'll talk after.
There's a lot to talk about, you guys. We're gonna be jibber jabbering a lot this week in preparation for next Tuesday. Hey, thank you guys for being awesome players and rolling through some very heartfelt and dramatic moments, some very dark and creepy moments. We had a little bit of everything in this session. And that's because you guys are so freaking awesome. And we have an awesome team of folks in the chat that seem like they're just as invested in this story as we are. So I'm loving that as well. So thank you all so much for being here. If you like what we're doing, please consider following the channel. If you're a follower, please consider subscribing. And if you can't, that's okay too. Just keep coming back and hanging out with us. We are going to find someone to raid into because that's what you do. But before we get to that raid, I would just love to go around the table here and have my friends, whatever you want to say about the session or if plugs whatever you've got going on, please do. Let's go ahead. We'll start with Rachel.
Complete awe and shock and terror and more awe and more shock. I'm so excited to learn how much of that was improvised and how much of that was planned and how much of that Ty knew versus how much of that Dave knew and made happen. I'm excited. I'm Rachel, also known as Kateria. You can find me on the Guild Superior Discord as Kateria. You should join it. There's a lot of cool things happening there, and you should come here. I mean, every time he streams, but especially next Tuesday, because that's when this will conclude. Hopefully, maybe, and we're probably all gonna die.
Not Portis.
Uh-oh. Challenge accepted. Rachel, thank you so much. You said, I can't remember what you said, but I said, oh, it's going to get more confusing, and I think I was successful in that result. Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
So we'll see what happens next week. I can't wait. Let's jump over to Scottish Jeff.
Oh, hello everybody. Oh my God, yeah, Scottish Jeff here again. You can find me when I'm playing in the game. It's usually going to be with my family at Guild Superior, or in the Discord, at Guild Superior also, because that's where all the best DMs go to run games. But anyways, though, oh my God, what an episode! If Cooper wasn't already like confused or
poor guy,
concerned about anything, he's just like, what's going through his mind right now is like, if I make this out alive, I'm gonna marry the first woman I meet, and have a lot of kids so I can tell this story to.
Settle down somewhere safe.
Have a lot of kids to tell the story to.
Yeah, that's amazing. Jeff, I love Cooper. Cooper seems like a gruff but good dude, and I can only imagine like how confused he is with what he's gotten himself into with this group, because these guys there's a lot of shit going on here. They got history, lots of history. All right, Jeff, thank you so much. Let's jump over to Coco Bunny.
Oh my gosh, Dave, you have me having very strong mixed feelings about next week. Oh my gosh. But I was so happy to play tonight. Like this session was amazing. It was so good. But yeah, I'm Coco Bunny 94. I stream on my own channel. We'll be doing some more streaming this week, but on Saturday I'll be on Lord Gazumba's channel with the Nuclear Meat, and then Sunday we'll be doing the 6-hour finale on Stronghold D&D's channel for the Divine Misfits. So yeah, I can't believe that's coming to an end. I feel like I just started.
It goes by fast. Yes.
It does.
You have to savor every moment.
Yes, I can't believe next week is our last one. It's like we just got here.
Well, it might be the last session of this particular story, but it's certainly not the last time that you're going to be playing in the world of Greyhawk on this channel, because I'm going to be inviting you back to play more Dungeons and Dragons at every opportunity. So I really appreciate you very much taking the time to be here, because I know you're busy. And I did drop the link to Coco's Twitch channel. Please go check that out. Give her a follow, and help to spread the love with all these great streamers that are part of this Greyhawk community. It's just an awesome community. All right, last but not least, let's jump over to Dungeon Mr. Ty.
Wow. It's funny, early on in the session, because of the way that the dynamics were with a lot of focused character interplay, I was thinking, geez, I wonder if there's still time for things to go to that place that Dave has taken us so many times in both of these arcs. Well, hello. We got there.
I mean, dark and insane.
Yeah.
And all the way up to that last encounter in the circle, I was thinking, parallel druid stuff on the outside of the world we have lots to talk about, Rachel, as you said, behind the scenes, but holy smokes. Yeah. I keep thinking, and I said this before, and we had technical issues coming into this arc before. We had an extra night off that we weren't planning for, and we're still hitting the beats. You guys.
Yeah.
Wow,
This is a great table.
Inspiring each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very fun group.
I feel so
I gotta up my game for tomorrow. I gotta.
Dude, you always bring the goods, man. You always bring such great content. So I'm super excited. Ty, before we jump into that though, do you want to let's hear a little bit? Let's get the update on New Varden again, because I know it's very exciting. It's very much like right now. So let's hear about it.
Sweet, thank you. Yeah, New Varden, after almost 4 years, 3 years, and call it 8 months of development and planning and work and layout. I am at the point now, I have approved layout, signed off on everything. It is ready to go to the printer. ISBNs to go on the back and the whole sort of deal. So it should be available for print within the next few weeks, is my anticipation. But it's a learning process every step of the way. And but once New of Arden is off the ground, the world of New of Arden is open for business, and many more things to come behind it in New of Arden. The Earth Punk fantasy of manifestation.
So exciting, dude. I'm so excited. Like I said before, I can't wait to get my grubby mitts on that book, page through it and dog ear it and mark it up and use
Heck
it.
yes.
And, oh, I can't wait.
I told my layout person I want this to be a book that people want to use.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
not just a coffee table beautiful thing, but something that you
Which
want to.
It's also going to be beautiful because I've seen some of the artwork in it. Yeah. Which our good friend Jose has been part of some of that stuff. So. Oh, so good. Yeah, Jose comes with the goods too, always.
I can't wait to see him.
All right. Whew. Guys, that was a hell of a session. I really appreciate you all. And I just, I wouldn't do this if it wasn't like me getting here and having such a freaking blast with you guys every week. So playing games is fun, y'all. And it really, when you find a good table, it's important, especially with all the bullshit that's going on in the world right now. Find your people and hold them close and be good in the world. And use your imagination as often as you can. Use your imagination. We can find solutions to all these fucked up problems that we're dealing with right now. Love you all. We're going to go ahead and raid into the Happy Jacks RPG crew. It looks like they're playing, I don't know what they're playing, but the title of their stream is What About Bob's? So it's got to be good. So thank you all. We're going to kick it over to the end screen here. We will see you tomorrow. We have a fantastic game lined up tomorrow. Vamp Wickman, who's in the chat, is going to be there. Ty is running a Mork board game for my birthday. It's now an annual tradition. This is the second year we've done it. Sly Sparrow is going to be there. Vamp Wickman, myself, and Flea Monkey. It's going to be fantastic. I'm very, very excited. And we'll see you tomorrow. Please come back and hang out with us. It's going to be wild. I mean, Vamp's going to be there, so we know it's going to be absolutely off the wall crazy. Yeah. And it's Morkborg. I mean, it's freaking Morkborg. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Bye.